friends, welcome into Cross.my.heart Ministry. Lauren McFarland here, and I can't believe it. It's already 2025, and we are nearing the end of January already. 1 month already down, and that means it's time, of course, to bring our do-it list for the month of February. I've got a picture of that up on the screen, and we'll include a link to that in the notes below. This has been a very handy-dandy one-page way to sort of keep home and hearth organized and clean and tidy. And so every month we print this. It's pre-populated with some tasks that if you just commit to doing those, or as many of those as you can, in those daily, weekly, and monthly categories, you will find that you can transform your home in just a matter of days and weeks. So the whole goal here is to try to take the thinking part about what should I do to tackle this mess and this ginormous task and all the things that need to be done, and remove the thinking about what to do and release you to just jump in and do it. That's the name Do-It List. So each month when we present the Do-It List, I usually choose an item on that list and just kind of give you some tips or ideas about how to make this happen. So today I'm doing something that's somewhat related. There is an item on there called laundry. That's an ongoing task for all of us. In the old days, when I had 4 children at home, I did at least 1 load and sometimes 2 loads every single day. In my empty nester days of now, I don't have to do laundry nearly as often. But today I want to share some ideas on not just doing laundry and in your washing machine, but we have a washing machine that does our laundry for us. Back when I was a little girl in West Virginia, I would help my grandmother do laundry. And when I was a little girl, she actually had one of those wringer machines that I remember she was so petrified that my fingers might get caught in that wringer. So that dates me and makes me feel very old. But anyway, sometimes we have the washing machine, and it's just great to have the luxury of this appliance that you just push a button. And so the point is, our foremothers went through a whole lot more to do laundry than we have to do. So our laundry machine cleans our clothes for us, but sometimes we need to clean the machine that cleans our clothes. And so I want to share some ideas with you today on how you can make that happen. I also want to mention that today, because I'm here in the laundry room, because I'm going to be getting down with the floor and doing some work here, and I got some cleaning stuff out, I just put on my t-shirt. Go on my Cross.my.heart Ministry t-shirt. I've got the little Cross.my.heart logo here. This also comes in pink. And so if you would be interested in having one of these, there's the logo, and then here's what it looks like on the back. I've got the graven on. So there's the hot pink. You can reach out to us at cross.my.heart@cox.net, and that email will be in the notes below as well. And we can make arrangements for you to get to purchase one of those for yourself. But here we go. I've gathered my supplies. We're going to do several things today. So first of all, I'm demonstrating how to maintain and clean a front-loading machine. So mine is an LG, and yours may be a different brand, but if it's a top load, there's probably a filter that's located someplace different. But I'm going to demonstrate cleaning and some things that you could do to maintain this front loading, and this is my particular model. But I think most of the front loading models are going to have the little filter that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. So I've gathered some supplies here. First of all, just in terms of cleaning your machine, different people have different ideas for how to do that. Some use soda and vinegar, some use straight vinegar, some use bleach. But I love these little washing machine cleaner tabs. So this one it says it's a 1-year supply, 24 tablets. I do not think Kevin and I do this twice a month, but maybe you should. So it's just a little box that opens up, and it's got all of these little pre-packaged little tablets in there. They really just look like almost like a dishwasher detergent tablet. So you just open it up, throw it in your machine. Now my machine actually has a tub clean option here. If you don't have a tub clean option, you can just do yours on a full load and do hot water and just run it through its cycle. Sometimes if we have put too much detergent in and that is kind of accumulated behind the drum, you might see suds when you clean it, and so that will sort of clean out a lot of that extra detergent. It'll just kind of air it out. The other thing that we need to do, if your machine starts to have sort of an odor in there, one thing that's important is when you're not using it, to leave the door kind of ajar. Now, if you've got a laundry room and you can leave it there, it's one thing. Some of us might be in a place where the machine is behind louver doors or it's in a hallway, and having it popped open can be a problem. But if you're able to leave it open at least for a little while, that lets any moisture evaporate and it doesn't get trapped in there and begin to kind of stink. So what I did this morning before I videoed is I stuck a tablet in there and I let it go through a cycle so that it would all be fresh and kind of clean, because I wanted to demonstrate keeping this sort of rubber gasket clean. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's the rubber gasket here that sort of keeps a good seal when you close the door. With that front loader, you certainly don't want to have all of the water that needs to be trapped in there. But in the lip here, there is water gets trapped, and it's just anytime there's moisture, there's an invitation to have a little mildew or stuff kind of gross. So I'm going to go to put on my rubber gloves, and I'm going to clean out the inside of this gasket a little bit. And first of all, I got my microfiber cleaning rags here, but I'm first just going to grab some paper towels and wipe out the stuff that's obvious, that's going to be easy to get out. I want to let you see the gunky stuff that can accumulate in here and show you what my paper towel kind of looks like. So I even see that there's a little piece of what looks like a part of a Walmart bag that's kind of cut across in there, like a little cut out from the handle, and I don't know how that got in there, but there it is. So it's kind of hard to pull that back a little bit, but so I've got a little bit of gunky stuff you can see on my rag. It's kind of black, and that gets some of it up. But so now I've got a spray bottle, and this is just a solution that I made up with 1 part vinegar to 1 part water. And so I don't have any baking soda or anything on here. Sometimes you might want to put in just a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid to kind of cut some grease. But I'm just going to spray this into this area. And the other thing I like to do, I've got a toothbrush. So let that kind of see that's actually not in that bad of shape, because we probably do it fairly frequently. Then take a toothbrush. That's always kind of a great thing to hold onto. Just hold your last toothbrush before you throw it away, and it kind of gets in the little crevices there, and kind of scrape that out. Sometimes instead of scrubbing, if you just leave it sit for a little bit and then come back, that kind of softens it up a little bit. So I think I'm just going to spray it and then come back and get to that in a moment. So we'll just pull this lip back. It's pretty tight and strong, but it needs to be to hold all the water in there. And of course, it's really just that bottom part. I think probably what would be a really great idea would be, after I've got it nice and clean, every time I run it, just to open that lip up, and if there's any visible signs of water there, just take a clean rag and wipe that out. The other thing I like to do is just clean the inside of this a little bit. I think I did this recently, but I'm just going to spray this, take my microfiber rag, and just wipe this off really good to give it a good little clean, just to clean off anything that may have accumulated here. I did this recently as well, but the outside of the lip here, inside the door, just like to clean this a little bit. And again, it's in pretty good shape because I did this fairly recently, but I'm just gonna wipe this. It just gets dusty, just like everything does. And then usually what I do is I take my rag and kind of go behind the little louver here, the little arm that holds that door, and get that. Put it down through the back. Kind of do this number. And so anyway, so I don't mind the smell of vinegar. Some people do. And I've even read that some people have suggested using a citrus peel to sort of put that over it and kind of get that a lemony or whatever smell to it. But I've never messed with that. Okay, so I'm going to let that just sort of kind of sit for a little bit. And I am going to go ahead and close this just because I want to be able to get access to this panel on the bottom. So I hope that we can zoom in, maybe turn the camera so that you can see what's going on here. So I'm going to put down an old towel because when we clean out this little filter, there's also a hose. And when we take the filter out, there'll be some water that will escape. And so, at least I think there will be, there usually is. And I don't want to get that all over the floor. So I'm going to sort of shove that underneath. The panel here on my washing machine, and probably on yours as well, is going to be near the bottom, probably on the left, could be on the right. But when you open this up, there's a little panel here. There's going to be a little hose, and there's going to be a little filter. It will just rotate counterclockwise. Now, I'm going to drain that little hose into just a pie pan here and get the water out of it. So pull this off here, and the hose sort of pulls out. There's a little cover on it. So I'm going to take that cover off. And there's not much water in it, but there is a little bit coming out. Sometimes, if you haven't done this for a while, the water that comes out could be really kind of gunky and nasty. So there's one little bit of something that came out, but because we have cleaned ours fairly recently, it's really not a problem. Now, if you had not cleaned yours in a long time or ever, when you take that cap off, and the water may just start to gush out. And if it's in danger of overflowing your little shallow pan, you can just lift it up to let the water go back in, put the top back on, and then empty your pie can, come back, and then fill it up again. But if you do it regularly, there may not be much water that you have to deal with. There's a little arm there to hold that up. So now I've got that. So now the next thing I'm going to do is take this filter out. So this is sometimes where the water is starting to gush, and it's really coming out. I'm trying to capture some of it in here, but it's not really getting to my pie pan. So that's why you've got to have the towel there. So anyway, so fair amount of water paying out along with some gunky stuff onto my towel, and my little filter here is really in pretty good shape. I'm going to come over and bring it up to the screen so you can see it. It's dark, but really there's just a little bit of stuff accumulated here on the inside of this lip. Sometimes you may have this full of hair. It may have all sorts of kind of debris that has accumulated in there, just gunky stuff, and so it needs to be cleaned out. So advise wearing gloves, cleaning that out. I think one time we even found a penny that had somehow made its way through the washing system and was in this mess. But this one is in pretty good shape. I am going to put it in the sink and wash it really good and spray it off and clean that out before I put it back. And I'm also going to take my rag and just clean out this little cavity in there, because I see kind of just around the lip where the filter screws back in, if there's just a little bit of stuff that's going on there. So I'm just going to give this a little wipe out, keep it nice and clean, and just wipe this out before I go back and clean the filter itself. So actually that just kind of pops off, and that might have been an easier choice, just to pop it off, and that maybe I'd stand a better chance of catching some of the water when it comes out and not having all land on the towel. So dry the outside of that off, and so I'm going to just sort of leave that lid open and let everything kind of air out and dry a little bit. So just dry that off a little, and then let the rest of it sort of drain and air dry. Okay. So we've cleaned the tub with the washing machine tablets. We have cleaned out the inside of the gasket. I'm going to finish doing that after I've let the vinegar and the water sort of set. And I'm going to go ahead and wipe that out and let that air dry. I've cleaned the inside of the door, so I've got that cleaned. The last thing I want to show you is to talk about is the little dispenser drawer. Now, it gets a little gunky, and you've probably seen that sometimes it overflows. It gets just stuff dries up in there. What you may not realize is there's a little lever here that you can push down, and then the whole thing can actually come out. So you can tell, I'm going to hold it up here a little bit. If you zoom in there, you can see just the gunky stuff that's here, and it's just gotten a little black just from the moisture that accumulates. And then the underside also looks a little nasty. So I'm going to spray all this off. I'm going to put it in my laundry tub here in the laundry room. I'm going to spray it. I'm going to take my toothbrush, clean this all up really good, and then I'm going to put it back in here. Now, the inside of the cavity also needs a little spray. So I'm going to take my cleaner and I'm going to spray this a little bit. I'm going to reach my hand in there and go ahead and clean out some of the black that I see in there as well. And some of the stuff here, even on the outside around it, is never exposed to air. Let's get all this kind of cleaned out. Under the lip, just sometimes it's not even really moldy or mildewy. It's just dust that even accumulates in there and a little bit of debris. So nothing like feeling like it's all nice and clean. So I'm going to do this, do the sides, and then even the top. You don't always see that. So just reach your arm back in there, get that cavity. And again, want to let that air dry a little bit. Don't, even if you've got the dispenser clean, if you cleaned it first, don't shove it back in there too soon. Go ahead and let that air dry a little bit. And so it doesn't really take that long, especially if you maintain it on a more frequent basis. It'll be more difficult if you've never done this. When you take it off, there might be more to clean up. But if you throw that tablet in there and just give that a quick clean out every month or two or so, or quarterly, that'll be an easy thing to keep up with. And it will also, my husband, the engineer, always tells me that anything we do to maintain a machine, whether it's our vehicle or one of our appliances in the home, it's a lot easier to do some preventive maintenance than to have it be a problem because the filter gets all jumped up and doesn't work efficiently, and you may have to replace the pump or the whole machine. So doing a few little things like this can extend the life of your machine and make it work more efficiently, and that's going to save you money not only in operations, but save money in not having to replace your appliance sooner than you would like to. So I hope this has been a blessing to you as you figure out maybe some new things that you didn't know about maintaining your washing machine. I hope the do-it list is a blessing to you, and I hope that you'll leave me a note below and let me see a thumbs up if you have cleaned out your washing machine as well. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me here in my laundry room. Blessings to you in February for Cross.my.heart Ministry. I'm Lauren McFarland.